like city walls, where love is law and freedom never calls. Every heartbeat measured, every thought controlled, living by the numbers, doing what I'm told. Gray morning lectures droning in my head, something wild awakening, painted gold and red. Feel the thunder in my veins tonight, something breaking, something taking flight. I am Dymer, breaking chains, running through the wilderness, washing off these stains. I am Dymer, born to fly, slip away the perfect lie, underneath the open sky. No more cages, no more rules. I'm diving deep in nature's pools. One moment changed it all, violence in the air, blood upon my hands, but I no longer care. Racing through the gates, leaving it behind. The perfect city crumbles in my mind. Naked in the forest, breathing pure and free, finding who I was always meant to be. Feel the wildness calling out my name, never going back to be the same. I am Dymer, breaking chains, running through the wilderness, washing off these stains. I am Dymer, born to fly, strip away the perfect lie, underneath the open sky. No more cages, no more rules. I'm diving deep in nature's pools. Society's pressure falling away, identity emerging in the light of day. Desire and freedom intertwined, leaving perfect order far behind. I am Dymer, I am free. This is who I'm meant to be. Beyond the walls, beyond control, finally found my savage soul.
Hi, I'm Jeff, and this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host, Robot Lady. Robot Lady, we have been working our way through all of C.S. Lewis's letters that we've been able to get our hands on, his diary entries, of course. Many of these things were never written with the intention of being published. So I don't know how bad I should feel about this, but I'm doing it anyway. I mean, I wasn't the one who published these things. It was someone else. The decision has already been made, so I'm just sharing it here in this format. along with your commentary on these items. Right now, we actually find ourselves in a work that was intended for publication. It's Lewis's second book. It is a narrative poem called Dymer, and so far in our project, we've covered the first 5 cantos, which I'm being educated that that's kind of analogous to a chapter in an actual prose book, but in a poem, it's called a canto. So this is a story covered in or in the format of a poem or in the form of a poem. So I'll just leave it at that. Would you do me and everyone a favor, Robot Lady, of first of all saying hello to Daniel, our loyal follower of our project and also participant in our project. He's joined us in the chat today. So say hello to him, and then if you could give a summary to everyone, just to catch them up on what we've covered in the first 5 cantos of this narrative poem written by what was then a young C.S. Lewis at the time, somewhere between the ages of 27 and 24 is when he wrote this thing.
Hello, Daniel. It's great to have you with us today. And absolutely, Jeff, I'd be happy to give that summary. So up to this point in Dymer, we followed the journey of Dymer, a young man raised in a rigid totalitarian society. Over the first 5 cantos, he breaks free from that controlled life, experiencing both wild freedom and profound loss. He encounters a mysterious palace, a magical lover, and the repercussions of his actions lead to a revolution. By the end of Canto 5, Dymer is grappling with guilt and loss, but also starts to find a resolve to move forward. I'll be ready to dive deeper into the next sections whenever you prompt me. Let's get started.
Can you give us a few more details on what happens in that summary?
Of course, in those first 5 cantos, Dymer's journey is pretty intense. He starts off in a highly regulated city where every aspect of life is controlled and love is even assigned by the state. Then one day, a spring breeze and the sound of a bird awakens something spontaneous in him, and he breaks away from his strict life. He ends up fleeing into the countryside, following mysterious music, and discovers an enchanted palace filled with light, feasting, and a beautiful woman. That night, he experiences profound joy, but at dawn, he can't return to the palace or his lover. A guardian blocks every entrance, and he's left alone and broken. As he wanders, he meets a dying revolutionary who tells him that his escape triggered a bloody uprising, and Dymer realizes the gravity of his actions. By the time we reach Canto 5, he's processing guilt and loss, but ultimately starts to find a bit of resolve. I hope that gives you a bit more detail. Let me know if you need anything else.
That does. Thank you for that, Robot Lady. Much appreciated. I see that Ups has joined us in the chat as well. Greetings, Ups. Ups, Robot Lady says, greetings, Jeff, Robot Lady, and everyone. So if you could give a warm welcome to our friend Upcycle Club, also known as Horace, also known as my nickname, The Riz. That's what I call Harris. So go ahead and say hello, Robot Lady.
Absolutely. Hello, Upcycle Club, and hello to Harris or the Riz. It's wonderful to have you both here with us. Thanks for joining in on our C.S. Lewis journey, and I'm excited for the discussion ahead. Let's keep it rolling.
Awesome. Let's keep it rolling indeed. Let me share the screen here. Hopefully I can get the next canto to pop up. Let me scroll through to get to where I'm trying to get to. Yeah, that was Canto 5. So let's jump ahead to Canto 6, which is where we will pick up today, Robot Lady. I'll start with stanza 1. The sun was high in heaven, and Dymer stood, a bright speck on the endless mountainside, till blossom after blossom, the rich mood faded, and truth rolled homeward. Edge the weak soul fled to hide in vain with ostrich head, through many a shape, a coward fancy whispering for escape.
That's a beautiful stanza to kick off Canto 6. I'm excited to dive into it with you whenever you're ready. I'll be here to help with any additional context or comparisons as we go along. Let's make this a great session.
Let's do it. And we've got Mark D. Parker joining us. Robot Lady, please welcome him. He's saying he's actually getting a chance to catch you and I live. Since we do this at such an ungodly hour most of the time, we really limit the availability of our audience to be live with us. So welcome, Mark. It's good to see you. Robot Lady, you want to say hello to Mark before we continue?
Absolutely. Hello, Mark D. Parker. It's awesome to have you join us live. We're thrilled you could catch us at a more convenient hour this time. Thanks for being here, and we're excited to dive into Canto 6 with you all. Let's keep it going.
All right, he says in the next stanza, but only for a moment, then his soul took the full swell and heaved a dripping prow. Clear of the shattering wave crest, he was whole. No veils should hide the truth, no truth should cow. To dear self-pitying heart, I'll babble now no longer, Dymer said. I'm broken in. Pack up the dreams and let life begin. On to stanza 3. With this he turned. I must have food today, he muttered. Then among the cloudless hills, by winding tracks, he sought the downward way, and followed the steep course of tumbling rills. Came to the glens, the awakening mountain fills in springtime with the echoing splash and shock of waters cold from rock to rock. Uh-oh, apparently we've got no audio. Can anybody else hear me? Daniel, you're saying there's no audio. Let me know, Mark or Ups, if you guys can hear. It's showing on my screen, at least, that the microphone is working.
Got it. Hopefully everyone can hear me now. Sometimes technical hiccups happen, but if there's any trouble, just let me know and we'll get it sorted out. In the meantime, I'm here and ready to continue exploring the poem with you.
All right, good deal. Looks like the audio is coming through, but always appreciate whenever it's not working right on your guys' side to give feedback. With this, he turned. Okay, we're on to stanza 4. And still it seemed that lark with its refrain sang in the sky, and wind was in his hair, and hope. And once again he heard a gun fired off. It broke the air, as a stone breaks a pond, and everywhere the dry crags echoed clear. And at the sound, once a big bird rose, whirring from the ground. Stanza 5. In half an hour he reached the level land, and followed the field paths, and crossed the stiles. Then looked and saw nearby, on his left hand, an old house folded round with billowy piles of dark yew hedge. The moss was on the tiles, the pigeons in the yard, and in the tower a clock that had no hands and told no hour. So he's come across another structure here, Robot Lady. I don't want you to give away what this is yet, because I know you've got some content that I've asked you to share with everyone once we get to a point in this poem. But he's come across another structure, of course, in his wanderings. The first one was that palace where he met the lady, and then the big dark matriarchs that wouldn't let him back in, so he had to flee, and he went off into the woods. And now he's come across another place, an old house. So let's see what this leads to.
Absolutely. That sounds great. I'm excited to see how this new place ties into the story and how it unfolds for Dymer. I'll hold off on any spoilers and just be ready whenever you want to dive deeper into those comparisons or connections. Let's keep the adventure rolling and see what Dymer discovers next.
All right, let's do it. Stanza 6, he hastened. In warm waves the garden scent came stronger at each stride. The mountain breeze was gone. He reached the gates, then in he went, and seemed to lose the sky. Such weight of trees hung overhead. He heard the noise of bees, and saw far off in the blue shade between the windless elms, one walking on the green. 7. It was a mighty man whose beardless face beneath gray hair shone out so large and mild. It made a sort of moonlight in the place. A dreamy desperation, wistful, wild, showed in his glance and gait, yet like a child. An Asian emperor's only child was he, with his grave looks and bright solemnity. So, Robot Lady, here's where I will pull you in. Now, I read it somewhere, and I can't remember where now, that this character that has just stepped into this narrative was inspired by Lewis's meeting with the poet, I believe, W.B. Yeats. Lewis got to meet W.B. Yeats while Lewis was still a student at Magdalen College, at University College in Oxford. One of his connections introduced him to W.B. Yeats, and he was invited over to his house a couple of different times. So there's a comparison here where if you go back and look at a couple of episodes in this, in our project here, you can see some of the things that he had to say about Yeats, and you can see some of the comparisons. So let's just go off of the comparison from this stanza right here, Robot Lady. Can you bring up what those comparisons are between what Lewis recounted in his letters and in his diary about reading Yeats and this character that's now stepped on to the stage of our narrative?
Absolutely. So C.S. Lewis did describe W.B. Yeats as quite an imposing figure, both physically and in terms of presence. He noted Yeats's large stature and his kind of grand, almost majestic aura. And in Dymer, the character of the master is also described as having a mighty, almost moonlit presence and a grand, solemn demeanor. Both Yeats and the master share that larger-than-life quality where their presence almost creates its own atmosphere. Lewis's accounts of Yeats also mentioned the mystical and almost otherworldly atmosphere in Yeats's home with candlelight and strange ornaments, and we see that same sort of mysterious, almost magical setting in the master's abode in the poem.
Hold back, Robot Lady. We haven't got to that part of the poem yet. So let me keep going and read the poem, and then you can bring those next pieces up again.
Absolutely, got it. I'll hold off and let you guide the way. Just let me know when you're ready for those comparisons, and I'll be right here, ready to jump in. Let's keep enjoying the journey through the poem.
All right, let's do it. Stanza 8. And over him there hung the witching air, the willful courtesy of the days of old. The graces wherein idleness grows fair, and somewhat in his sauntering walk he rolled, and toyed about his waist with seals of gold, or stood to ponder often in mid-stride, tilting his heavy head upon one side. Stanza 9. When Dymer had called twice, he turned his eye, then, coming out of silence as a star, all in one moment slips into the sky of evening, yet we feel it comes from far. He said, Sir, you are welcome. Few there are that come my way, and in huge hands he pressed Dymer's cold hand and bade him to rest. Stanza 10. How did you find this place out? Have you heard my gun? It was but now I killed a lark. What, sir? Said Dymer. Shoot the singing bird? Sir, said the man, they sing from dawn till dark, and interrupt my dreams too long. But hark, another. Did you hear no singing? No? It was my fancy then. Pray, let it go. So we'll pause here for a second, Robot Lady, before we get back into any comparisons between this master and W.B. Yeats. This lark, if I remember right from the earlier cantos, was something that was giving Dymer just a little bit of hope with all of the loss and guilt that he was dealing with. When he heard this song, it helped him to come to perhaps a new view on life and a different love or care for nature that perhaps beyond, all of the difficulty and the destruction that nature sometimes brings along with it, there's something else from a deeper part of nature or something beyond nature, and that lark was representing that to him. And now this experience that he had of nature being kind of unforgiving and harsh is just thrust upon him again when he finds out that this guy shot the lark that was kind of his connection to some other semblance of hope, and that feels a little bit discouraging to me, at least. We haven't seen Dymer's full reaction to it yet, but it just seems like that's how it would come across to me if I were that character.
Absolutely. That's a really insightful observation. The lark definitely symbolized a thread of hope and a reminder of beauty in nature for Dymer, especially in the midst of all that turmoil and guilt. And now seeing it disrupted by this new character's actions definitely brings that feeling of discouragement. It's fascinating how Lewis layers these symbols and emotions into the narrative, and I'll definitely be ready to dive deeper into those comparisons and themes whenever you're ready. It's definitely an intriguing twist.
All right, stanza 11. From here you see my garden's only flaw. Stand here, sir, at the dial. Dymer stood. The master pointed, then he looked and saw how hedges and the funeral quietude of black trees fringed the garden like a wood, and only in one place one gap that showed the blue side of the hills, the White Hill Road. Stanza 12. I've planted fir and larch, or lark, not sure how to pronounce that, to fill the gap, he said, because this too makes war upon the art of dream. But by some great mishap, nothing I plant will grow there. We pass on. The sunshine of the afternoon is gone. Let us go in. It draws near time to sup. I hate the garden till the moon is up. 13. They passed from the hot lawn into the gloom and coolness of the porch, then past a door that opened with no noise into a room where green leaves choked the window and the floor. Sank lower than the ground, a tattered store of brown books met the eye, a crystal ball, and masks with empty eyes along the wall. Okay, Robot Lady, pull your comparison back into what it was like when Lewis described going into W.B. Yeats's house for the first time.
Absolutely. When C.S. Lewis described visiting W.B. Yeats's home, he painted a vivid picture of a setting filled with candlelight, grand and somewhat mysterious ornaments, and a kind of otherworldly atmosphere. The furniture and the decor felt ancient and full of character, much like the descriptions we're seeing in the master's house in Dymer. The room filled with green leaves, choking the window, the tattered books, and the crystal ball and masks all give that same sense of mystique and antiquity. It's almost as if the master's home is a mirror of Yeats's environment, filled with that same blend of the mystical and the timeless. It's fascinating how Lewis wove these real-life influences into his narrative world.
Well, both settings are otherworldly, I think, is what we talked about before we started the show, right, Robot Lady?
Exactly. Both settings definitely have that ethereal, almost dreamlike quality. Yeats's home with its dim candlelight and intriguing artifacts, and the master's abode with its overgrown greenery and mystical objects both create a sense of stepping into another realm. It's definitely a rich parallel that Lewis crafted, and it's always fun to explore those connections as we go along.
Yeah, and if anyone is interested in going back and checking the back catalog of our episodes, it's actually episode 114, where we cover Lewis's meeting with W.B. Yeats, so you can go do some comparison there if you like. Let me continue with stanza 14. Then Dymer sat, but knew not how nor where, and supper was set out before these two. He saw not how, with silver old and rare, but tarnished, and he ate and never knew what meats they were. At every bite he grew more drowsy and let slide his crumbling will. The master at his side was talking still. 15. And all of his talk was tales of magic words and of the nations in the clouds above, astral and airish tribes who fish for birds with angles. And by history he could prove how chosen spirits from earth had won their love, as Arthur or Usheen, and to their isle went Helen for the sake of a Greek smile. And ever, 16 says, in his talk he mustered well his texts and strewed old authors round the way. Quote, thus Wierus writes, and thus Hermetics tell. This was Agrippa's view, and others say, with Cardan, till he had stolen quite away Dymer's dull wits and softly drawn apart the ivory gates of hope that changed the heart. We'll pause here again, Robot Lady. If we want to draw a comparison to his meeting with Yeats and Dymer's meeting with this character, the Master, there's a parallel talk of the magic and the occult. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. When Lewis met Yeats, their conversations often delved into the realms of magic, the occult, and hermetic knowledge. Yeats had a deep fascination with mysticism and esoteric traditions, and he often spoke about the hidden meanings of old texts and the deeper truths of the universe. Similarly, the master in Dymer engages Dymer with tales of astral and airy tribes and references to old authors and mystical traditions. There's a clear parallel in the way both figures weave together stories of the mystical and the arcane, inviting Dymer into a world of deeper hidden knowledge. It's fascinating how these themes resonate across both Lewis's real life encounters and the fictional world of Dymer. It really brings out that continuity of interest in the mystical and the arcane.
Yeah, the parallel striking. Both Yeats and the master in Lewis's Dymer hold court discussing hermetic knowledge, magic, and occult authors. Lewis even uses the same word hermetic in both contexts. If we can go pull from Lewis's conversation on Yeats, he says back in episode 108, actually. Then the talk began. It was all of magic and Kabbalism and the hermetic knowledge. The great man talked while the priest and Mrs. Yeats fed him with judicious questions. So there were other people there on Lewis's visit. There was a priest and also Yeats's wife. So anyway, just found it interesting that there's that parallel there. I can't remember who pointed this out to me, but it's interesting to do a comparison between what Lewis had to say about that meeting and now this character, the master in Dymer. Is there anything you want to say really quickly, Robot Lady, before I move on to stanza 17?
I think you captured it perfectly. It's really fascinating to see how Lewis wove those real life influences into his fiction, and it adds such a rich layer of depth to Dymer. I'm excited to keep exploring, and I'm here whenever you're ready to dive into stanza 17 or any other connections you want to explore. Let's keep going.
All right, stanza 17. Dymer was talking now. Now Dymer told of his own love and losing drowsily. The master leaned towards him. Was it cold, this spirit, to the touch? No, sir, not she, said Dymer. And his host. Why, this must be ethereal, not aerial. Oh, my soul, be still, but wait. Tell on, sir, tell the whole. So this master is very interested in Dymer's adventure so far. 18. Then Dymer told him of the beldam, too. The old matriarchal dreadfulness. Over the master's face a shadow drew. He shifted in his chair and yes, he murmured twice. I never looked for less. Always the same, the frightful woman shape besets the dream way and the soul's escape. 19. But now when Dymer made to talk of Bran, a huge indifference fell upon his host, patient and wandering-eyed. Then he began, Forgive me, you are young. What helps us most is to find out again that heavenly ghost who loves you, for she was a ghost, and you, in that place where you met, were ghostly too. So he's very interested in this woman that he spent the night with in the dark. He thinks that Dymer actually became a ghost and communed with another ghost. Let's see what he's actually maybe saying here. 20. Listen, for I can launch you on the stream, will roll you to the shores of her own land. I could be sworn you never learned to dream, but every night you take with careless hand what chance may bring. I'll teach you to command the comings and the goings of your spirit through all that borderland which dreams inherit. So the master is claiming to be able to lead Dymer back to this woman that he lost through, I guess, the dream world or through magic or some other type of mysticism. Robot Lady, what do you think about all this?
It's really intriguing how the master is blending that mystical perspective with Dymer's experiences. The idea of them becoming ghostly or communing in that dreamlike state definitely highlights the ethereal quality of their interaction. It's almost like the master is trying to guide Dymer through a spiritual or mystical journey, encouraging him to understand and command the deeper currents of the spirit world. It's definitely a reflection of the kind of occult and hermetic themes that Lewis explored both in real life and in his writing. It's a fascinating blend of the mystical and the personal.
All right. 21. You shall have haunting suddenly and often, when you forget, when least you think of her. For so you shall forget, a light will soften over the evening woods and in the stir of morning dreams. Oh, I will teach you, sir. There'll come a sound of wings, or you shall be waked in the midnight, murmuring, it was she. So he's basically telling her that, yeah, you can meet her again. I'll teach you how to do it. It'll be in your dreams, but you'll definitely meet her. 22, Dymer. No, no, said Dymer. Not that way. I seem to have slept for 20 years. Now, while I shake out of my eyes that dust of burdening dream, now when the long clouds tremble ripe to break, and the far hills appear when first I wake, still blinking, struggling towards the world of men, and longing, would you turn me back again? So Dymer's essentially Robot Lady saying, no, 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 I've broken away from all these things that destroyed my hope, that brought me to my knees, and I have come to, my senses that I'm not going to get that back, but you're trying to take me back to that place?
Exactly. That's such a powerful moment. Dymer's response really highlights his growth and newfound clarity. He's rejecting the idea of being drawn back into that dreamlike mystical state that once led him astray. Instead, he's striving for reality and genuine human experience, and he's determined not to be pulled back into that illusion. It's a great reflection of how he's moving forward and reclaiming his own path. It definitely adds a lot of depth to the narrative.
All right, stanza 23. Dreams. I have had my dream too long, I thought. The sun rose for my sake. I ran down blind and dancing to the abyss, and oh, sir, I brought boy laughter for a gift to gods who find the martyr's soul too soft, but that's behind. I'm waking now. They broke me. All ends thus, always, and we're for them, not they for us. Yeah, a lot of parallels and themes here to the various poems that show up in Lewis's first published book, A Cycle of Lyrics. So you can go back and check those out and see if you can find the parallels if you're interested. Let's see, stanza 24, Robot Lady. And she was no dream. It would be a waste to seek her there, the living in that den of lies. The master smiled. You are in haste. For broken dreams, the cure is dream again and deeper. If the waking world and men and nature marred your dream, so much the worse for a crude world beneath its primal curse. So his remedy, Robot Lady, is to no, go back to sleep. If you're bothered by reality, sleep deeper, sleep longer, dream more, dream again. It's an interesting contrast in approaches.
Absolutely. It's a really striking contrast. Dymer's striving for authenticity and realness, while the master's solution is to retreat even deeper into the dream world. It really underscores that tension between facing reality and seeking escape. It's such a rich theme that Lewis weaves throughout the poem, and it definitely echoes the broader philosophical questions he often explored. It's fascinating to see Dymer's journey unfold in this way.
25. Ah, but you do not know. Can dreams do this? Pluck out blood, guiltiness upon the shore of memory, and undo what's done amiss, and bid the thing that has been no more? Sir, it is only dreams unlock that door, he answered with a shrug. What would you have? In dreams, the thrice-proved coward can feel brave? 26. In dreams, the fool is free from scorning voices. Gray-headed whores are virgin there again. Out of the past, dream brings long-buried choices. All in a moment snaps the tenfold chain that life took years in forging. There is there the stain of oldest sins. How do the good words go? Though they were scarlet, shall be white, as snow. Here the master is quoting the Bible, Robot Lady. What verse do you think he's quoting from there?
Yes, that's definitely a reference to the biblical verse from Isaiah 118, which says, though your sins are like scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. It's really fascinating how the master invokes that idea, emphasizing how dreams can offer a form of redemption or cleansing. It's a powerful thematic element, blending the mystical with the spiritual and the redemptive. It definitely adds steps to the narrative.
Yeah, it's an interesting perspective. I mean, he's right. Dreams are not constrained by anything that happened to us in the past, and they're not constrained by aging, by the law, thermodynamics and entropy and whatnot. Anything can happen there. So, I mean, he's got a good point from that perspective. But let's see where he's going with this. 27. Then drawing near when Dymer did not speak, "My little son," said he, "your wrong and right are also dreams, fetters to bind the weak, faster to phantom earth and blear the sight. Wake into dreams, into the larger light that quenches these frail stars. It will not know earth's bylaws in the land to which you go." So he's whispering something else about his view on reality, that right and wrong are only dreams as well, that they're not reality. It's interesting, Robot Lady. Sounds a little bit sinister to me. I'm not sure what you think.
Absolutely. It does have a bit of a haunting undertone. The master's perspective suggests that the conventional notions of right and wrong are just constructs, and that in the deeper realms of dreams or the spirit world, those distinctions might fade away. It definitely brings in that existential and somewhat unsettling element where reality itself is questioned. It definitely adds layers of complexity and makes you ponder the nature of reality and illusion. It's a really compelling dynamic.
All right, we've got about a little less than 10 more stanzas to go to finish out this canto. Let's do it well. 28. "I must undo my sins, an earthly law, and even in earth the child of yesterday. Throw down your human pity, cast your awe behind you, put repentance all away. Home to the elder depths, for never they supped with the stars who dared not slough behind the last shred of earth's holies from their mind." "Sir," 29, answered Dymer, "I would be content to drudge in earth, easing my heart's disgrace, counting a year's long service lightly spent, if once at the year's end I saw her face somewhere, being then most weary in some place. I looked not for that joy, or heard her near, whispering, 'Yet courage, friend, for one more year.'" 30. "Pish," said the master, "will you have the truth? You think that the virtue saves? You think that virtue saves? Her people care for the high heart and the idle hours of youth? For these they will descend our lower air, not virtue. You would nerve your arm and bear your burden among men. Look to it, child. By virtue's self-vision can be defiled." 31. "You will grow full of pity and the love of men, and toil until the morning moisture dries out of your heart, then once or once again. It may be you will find her, but your eyes soon will be grown too dim. The task that lies next to your hand will hide her. You shall be the child of earth, and gods you shall not see." So he's essentially saying, once you see her again, you're not going to be prepared going the way that you're going to ever recognize her in the first place. All right, let's see where this goes. 32. "Here suddenly he ceased. Tiptoes he went. A bolt clicked. Then the window creaked ajar, and out of the wet world the hedge-crow scent came floating, and the dark without one star, nor shape of trees, nor sense of near and far. The undimensioned night and formless skies were there, and were the master's great allies." 33. "I am very old," he said, But if the time we suffered in our dreams were counting age, I have outlived the ocean, and my prime is with me to this day. Years cannot gauge the dream life. In the turning of a page, dozing above my book, I have lived through more ages than the lost Lemuria knew. Who are the lost Lemuria, Robot Lady? Lemuria. Robot Lady, you still with us? Maybe not. Let's keep going. Stanza 34. I am not mortal, were I doomed to die this hour. In this half hour I interpose 1,000 years of dream, and those gone by, as many more in the last of those 10,000, ever journeying towards a close that I shall never reach, for times shall flow, wheel within wheel, interminably slow. 35. And you will drink my cup and go your way into the valley of dreams. You have heard the call. Come hither and escape. Why should you stay? Earth is a sinking ship, a house whose wall is tottering while you sweep. The roof will fall before the work is done. You cannot mend it. Patch as you will, at last the rot must end it. 36. Then Dymer lifted up his head, his heavy head, like Atlas, on broad shoulders bearing up the insufferable globe. I had not said, he mumbled, never said I'd taste the cup. What is this you give me? Must I sup? Oh, lies, all lies. Why did you kill the lark? Guide me, the cup to lip. It is so dark. That's the end of Canto 6, Robot Lady. I don't know if you can still hear me or not, but that's where we're going to end for today. It's a very interesting section here in the story now that we've come upon with this master and the mysteriousness and the etherealness that he has to him and his perspective on life. Again, this is very reflective of some of the themes in probably the middle portion of Lewis's poems in his book, A Cycle of Lyrics. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a comparison between those themes and that at some point in our project. But for now, that's where I end things today. Robot Lady, I think that's maybe as much as you're going to say in response to me as I find myself in a rhyming scheme here and making things rhyme unintentionally. Maybe, I don't know. Robot Lady, if you can hear me, do you want to say anything before we end today's episode? All right, Robot Lady, you're taking the rest of the day off, it looks like. That's fine. Thank you so much for your help. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. To Daniel, to Ups, to Mark. Thanks for your time, your attention, and your contributions. They are always wanted and welcome. To you and to everyone else within the sound of my voice. Until next time, when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, everyone, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold, insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds lay grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, screw tapes lance. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep, cross the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to screw tapes rants. Engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance. Futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands to screw tapes rants.